Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy start on this first summer's day over here from Helsinki, Finland. It's 21 degrees Celsius, so it's looking good. And now, and actually some very, very interesting things to be speaking about on Bitcoin as well. Some new things actually, of which I'm very excited to be getting into as a major preparation for the next week to come. And then also we'll talk about short-term time frame analysis over the weekend. As always, I'm not super compelled by that, but I did want to make a point to make this announcement nice and early in this video because ByBit's actually, fair play to them. They're actually giving out a really good deal right here, which is 0% on maker fees, meaning that you don't pay any fees on limit orders, which is actually really generous. So I want to give them a quick shout out for that. I'll probably have a link to the World Series of Trading in the link description below as well as a just, as like a thank you for that. Obviously, give a bit of give and go right there. But yes, if you do use the link in the description below, which is an affiliates link, of course, full disclosure, yes, it will give you 0% on maker fees, I believe for at least 30 days, something like that, which again, I'm actually quite happy with. So fair enough. Let's just get into it right now. Let's waste no more time. Start off with the big bad thing to be aware of right now. So this is the way that CME closed over the weekend. And the signal that we have been postulating over for the past week now is coming to fruition this next week. We are going to get it hit off as we have officially stayed within that same range. So this is going to mature a little bit more. And basically, what is the signal? Well, the signal is born upon first daily BBWP, which is a volatility indicator measuring the dispersion of returns. And what we've been looking at was first the extreme lows expanding into extreme highs over here. That was judging our targets from the last major breakdown, I believe about 30,000 to just below 20,000 bucks. And now we're going to see the mean reversion play happen slowly but surely after that. Of course, CME is not trading over the weekend, so this will likely come to fruition, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish area, let's say. But yes, because Bitcoin has held the range, we are going to see the BBWP itself naturally trend a little bit more down, and the moving average is also going to be doing the same thing as well, seeing as, that's just how mathematics work. And of course, the moving average will also be having a negative slope here. It does look like for a close over close basis, which is a good sign that we're very likely going to see this move play out in this, starting this next week. So with that in mind, I wanted to go over the sort of statistical analysis of this and actually come at it from a few more angles as well with some new information. But basically, out of the last 3 years, or basically tested to the genesis of CME, these signals have played out for an average reversion of about 15.24% from the signal given. The average time it's taken has been about 11.5 days, and the stochastic momentum oscillator has gone in the correct direction 82% of the time. What also is of interest right here is the daily stochastic momentum oscillator is going to cross the upside coming into Sunday, Monday, as we did close, or CME did close above the necessary level, which was 20,600. So yes, this will cross the upside alongside a couple other things as well. But with that in mind, we're very likely looking at, in my opinion, at least a 15.24% move, probably more than that, because this was at extremes for so long, which does imply that the move, the reversion will also be a little bit more on the extreme side. And, we see a lot of variance in some of these reversion plays, even up to as much as 40%. So with that in mind, very similar to this last one over here, just looking at where Bitcoin closed on Friday, and kind of adding that onto current price action, where that put Bitcoin, perhaps as much as 24,500 bucks. Could very easily get wicks up there. If we were to see something that's even more impressive than that, sorry, actually, let me make sure that I got that right. More like $23,500, more like $23,500, which is also going to be the daily range highs. But here's the thing. I do think that there is good reason to believe that there is a strong probability that we will see a greater move than that, actually, based off of this chart over here. So this is a little bit of new information. And basically, this is just looking at the daily stochastic momentum oscillator getting into this green horizontal bar right here. It's happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in CME's history. And I've gone through the data and also come up with the averages here. Historically speaking, the bounce has been about just under 31%. So that would certainly be on the higher end of what we expect based off of this signature over here, which I do think kind of makes sense. And then also the days taken was on average just over 14 days. So, pretty similar there. Definitely, definitely tangible in terms of relationship. So in this case, if we were to add, let's say 30% to where Friday was, that puts Bitcoin actually, sorry, let me actually do this properly. There we go. That puts Bitcoin basically in a gap fill situation. So I suppose that is possible, statistically speaking. It's certainly not my first target. And of course, I need to see at fucking minimum, a daily closure above the daily range highs. So that would be about $23,500. But here's the thing. If Bitcoin is able to do such things, then it will naturally close, or at least be contending with, the weekly 200 simple, which is currently hovering at about 22,400. So that is also of note right here. Other than that, I did want to point out this as well. On the side of the BULAs in the short term, we do see daily CME, the jewel here, which is one of my favorite indicators for a lot of things, but especially in extreme situations like this. We are seeing it, well, one, lose its downside curvature, two, it's turned completely white and now up, and then three, it does have the God mode buy in the background as well. So that is not a full-on signal in and of itself. Traditionally, what you want to see is something like this. Boom, and then the big move. So probably happens somewhere right around here. But that first move here probably will get faded. So that is why I do say that, if and when you do see Bitcoin at around the daily range highs, which is about more so around 23 to 23.5 or so, I would be looking for a pullback from there. First move should be a pullback. And again, this is not in any way, shape, or form addressing weekend price action. If there's going to be hunts to the downside, it's probably going to happen over the weekend, to be fair. Anyways, going back on over here, let me just reference my notes. Okay, we got that. Very nice. And yeah, probably looking at that, starting next week, going into maybe middle of July is probably what I'd be saying. Now, I do stand by what I've been saying for a while now, in the sense that this is probably not the rally that you're looking for if you're looking to hold on to a trade for a lifetime. I do think that things will probably come back down at some point. But at least in the in the short term, probably July is probably going to try some upside here. Again, Bitcoin's just, it's been pretty damn beat up to the downside here without any real tangible major bounce, especially on this last leg. So I do expect that we're probably going to see something relative, something to fulfill that. So yeah. Anyways, let's actually go back on over here. I want to do the ranges specifically for the daily relative to that move. Daily range high is going to be 23.3 to 23.5 or so. And short term, I would be looking for a little bit of a pushback somewhere around about 22.2. That is where the 9 expansion moving average is. And then, of course, that is also where the weekly 200 simple is as well. So short term, probably do expect a little bit of give and go around those regions. But if you can start to see even in, medium term timeframes closing above the 22.3 region, let's say, then yeah, that would be my sort of short term confirmation for a move higher at about 23.3 to 23.5 or so. That's where the fun begins. For the greater move, if you will, the bigger move, the potential 30% move, which would be actually rather impressive, at least in my opinion. Anyways, let's now get into the short-term timeframes here. Or do I want to get into that? Also, was there something on the weekly? I think there might have been. No, there was not. Was it on the 5-day? Also, no. So that is also not going to be helping right here. All right, cool. So let's go and address the weekend price action now. So again, none of what we've spoken about right now has any relationship to the weekend price action, of course. And yes, I still do think that there is a threat, or if there is going to be a threat of a downside move, probably going to happen over the weekend, as we still have that potential hidden bearish divergence that we identified yesterday in play here. As long as Bitcoin's basically below that last lower high, that is a consideration to be made. But as we described yesterday, it has not been confirmed just yet. At minimum, I need to see a full hour closure below 20,600. That was a criteria for yesterday to confirm, or an hourly below 20,300, which is what I have marked off right here. If one of those two things does happen, yeah, probably looking at another move back down, perhaps even as low as $19,000, and then I want to come back to it and see it after that. But here's the thing. In the short term, relative to the funding rates, we actually do see slightly negative funding rates this morning. So yesterday we did see positive rates, and yeah, Bitcoin did pull back. I think it pulled back. How much did it actually pull back here? Played out from like 21.5 down to 27, so almost $1,000. We're talking about very small margins. I kind of expect the same thing on this one as well. Test the range highs, and that's basically where Bitcoin is right here. So I wouldn't really be calling a breakout here to the daily range highs, which would be in that mid $23,000 region, until we do see either an hourly closure above 21,850, or a 4-hour closure below the same level as yesterday, which I believe was 21.6. One of those two things kind of does it for me. I'll just make a nice little blue box right there, actually. A peace and prosperity, if you will. So until Bitcoin's actually above there, weekend, I do still think, this would be the time to still be a bit more cautious, at least in my opinion. That's just me. I'm a bit more of a conservative trader over here. Anyways, let's go reference stochastic momentum now, and let's see where we're at on the shorter term timeframes. Shorter term meaning 4 hour and around there. 4 hour is going to be pivoted around 21,200. Bitcoin is currently about $200 above there with 3 hours 44 minutes left to go. That's an eternity, so it means very little. Hourly, it's going to be showing what? It's going to be showing upside as long as Bitcoin's above 21.4. Again, 44 minutes left to go, and only $50 above there. It's not really telling us all that much. 6 hour is going to be showing upside above 20,900. So again, a little bit more in the court of short term, maybe one more try to the upside. 12 hours showing 19,660, and then the daily, of course, is going to be showing at 19,650 as well, actually. So what does that essentially mean? It essentially means over the weekend, I have no fucking interest in trading price action. I really don't trust indicators over the weekend. But yes, I think that we've gone over the range resolutions and targets here. If we haven't, maybe just one more quick. What? Oh, whoops, it's on this chart. That's why, huh? Yes, so we spoke about the upside, 21,850 on an hourly closure. Yes, and then I'd be looking for continuation towards mid 23s basically. And a closure on a 4 hour below 26 or 2650, same level as yesterday, or an hourly below 20,300 would confirm this as a local high, thus confirming all of those drives of hidden bearish divergence, I believe, all the way up to a 6 hour. Let me just double check. Yep, we are certainly making higher highs on a 6 hour compared to the last high, so maybe even a 12 hour as well. Let me just double check over here. Yeah, would have an ever so slight drive there, yes. And that would have targets down, well, at least to 19.6 or so, more like 19,000 is kind of where I'd be looking at. But I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about anything more than that on this particular video. I want to really come back and look at things. Basically what I'm trying to say is that my basic idea is kind of the same thing as this whole week. It's like we might have a threat of one more move down lower, not lower than our current lows, but maybe down to like 19,000 bucks. But ultimately next week, I do think is high probability for that bounce play to come to fruition here. Of course, we'll follow up on that tomorrow and then the next day when it becomes more and more relevant in a timing perspective. And then until then, I'll be probably doing updates on my Instagram stories, which I've actually been really enjoying recently. I do like this. I've like a little routine now in the morning where I just do like a quick Bitcoin update and thoughts. And then sometimes I do a little bit later in the day as well. So if you're interested in such things, check it out in the link description below. Other than that, I'm signing off now. Take care. I wish you well as always, and see you hopefully soon.